going to do here, this is the auger that takes the corn from that 85-foot cement silo and it brings it through the back of the wall of the commodity shed. We're going to use this auger here to get the corn from the roller mill to the bunk here. So what I have plans of doing, I have a gearbox for this auger. This is how we're going to set it up. We're going to set it up right here like this. We're going to dig a hole. We're going to dig a hole right there. Put the hopper on there, drop that down in to the hole in the ground, and then auger the corn over the wall of the bunk. And then that's where the high moisture corn is going to go, is in that bunk. So what we have to do, we have to run this down the shop, take this end off of it, and then we've got to put a different end on there so that we can put a hopper on it. We'll dig a hole in the ground, drop the hopper down into the hole that we dig. The top of the hopper will be flush with the ground. We can back the roller mill in this way and unload into the hopper and bring the trucks in like that. That way we can get the corn over the wall and do things like that. Alright, we have things planned out. We kind of know what we're going to do with this. So we're going to take this down to the shop. Get that motor off in there, get all that bracketry off, and get the gearbox moved down to where we can power this auger with a PTO off a tractor. I can do this same. I can run this auger with a PTO off a tractor here. So we got to get that 10 horsepower electric motor off in there. Get that bracket all off. I gotta move the gearbox to this left side to our right here. Make sure I can make it underneath the telephone line. We've got to actually get this thing cranked down. The winch paw is stuck, so we can't crank this down, so we're carefully gonna bring it down to the shop and get the winch to crank down. So this is about as far as I'm gonna make it. I better leave it right there. Yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna switch this auger and roller mill over. We're going to break up in teams of 1.5 here. Don't know how that's going to work out. But what we have to do is we have to take this blower off the back of this unit. So, if you guys want to go ahead and get that going. Yeah, you got to take it. Got to take it off there, right here.
Yeah.
So these bolts, those two. That one and that one. This one.
Oh, okay. So it just like slides
Take
off.
this cover off. Swing this auger over to there. And it'd be best just to get this cover all off in there. Put this upstairs, James. Put that upstairs and hang it on the pallet racking on the back post.
What's this, go on there?
No, what we're going to do with this, we're going to dig a hole in the ground, alright? See how low that exit is right there?
Yep.
That feeds into the blower. What we're going to do is back this up over the top of this auger. So in order to back it up over the top of the auger, we're going to dig a hole in the ground. Set the hopper down in the ground. Set the auger in it. Back this over the top of it. And then run the corn over the bunk wall so we can get the corn in the bunk. So all we got to do is unbolt this blower and get it out of the way. And then what we have to do with this, we have to take that electric motor off. I've got a shaft over there on the bench. We add on to that shaft that goes up to the head that drives the auger, and it's going to put the PTO down to about right here. The gearbox, we're going to come off of this side of the gearbox. But we're going to flip the gearbox over, and we're going to run off of that side, off the right-hand side, or off the left-hand side. So, I've got to get the end off of here to put the regular end back on it. So,
where's the plastic piece?
I'll work on this. It's down in on the grain bin. I'll work on this. You guys get this thing cleaned up and get things denutted, and then we can keep you in the right direction here. So, alrighty. We need to wheel this gantry back so that I can come over the top of this motor and hook onto that motor. So. Alright, so that came off in there good. Freaking aluminum. Pulleys are kind of junk. Ooh. Huh? It's not on?
Doesn't feel like it.
Alright, that made it out of there. Keyway's stuck in it. I'm going to throw this over on the bed. Alright. That's a nice spreader. Huh? That's a nice spreader. Yeah, it is. What do I got going on there, Sean? I got to come off that shaft a little bit. Oh, man. Look at that. Look at that. So the blower has been removed from the roller mill. Now this machine is just set up just to drop corn out of the back, and then we'll dig a hole in the ground, set a hopper down in it, set that auger in it, and you know, it'll be right down in here like that. So with that being said, this thing is ready to go. Other than a quick grease job, and yeah, run a grease gun around it. We got 3 bearings in the back, two in the back, 3 up front, power shaft, good to go. Yeah, take the power shaft off, 15/16 socket. Get a pipe wrench right there. Yeah, there you go, Jared. Just don't gouge that up too much. Alright, so they're going to get the bearing off this end here. Then this is just a band collar. Then this whole end's going to come off. Then we can put the regular end back on there. So we got an impact over there. 1/2 inch socket.
Get that wrench on that nut.
What we've got going on here, we can't get this collar off to get that gearbox out. So I'm going to cut this shaft right here, pull this out that way. I'm going to slide on a weld collar, and that's what we're going to do to get this thing going today. Just undo this muffler clamp like type thing. This thing's going to come right off. And then we need to slide that guy up on there. We might need a, I'm not sure how that's going to work right there. So, hey Sean, that female pipe stuff, that heavy wall tubing here, cut 2 pieces long. Here. Yeah. Alright, these guys have got the end going on the auger. Just get that turned in the right direction, Jared.
It's gotta be straight.
Straighten that a little bit. Then we'll be able to drop this down into a hopper.
On this end?
No, that's just a bronze guy.
The fill cap's gonna fuck it.
We couldn't get the gearbox to come apart from the upper part of the shaft. That's supposed to allow you to get that apart, move this gearbox down to here so we can drive it with a PTO off of the tractor here. So what we did is we cut the shaft up there, and I'm going to slide these 1-inch ID quarter wall tubing pieces on here. I'm going to take that up to that line. I'm going to tack weld alright, we got 2 inches of that shaft into there. So now we're going to set the gearbox on top of the auger tube. But why don't you go ahead and set that on there, Norris. We're going to have the shaft coming off this way. Fitz, grab a hold of this, will you? Alright, we're going to set that on there like that. We want to put this up, not going in there. Pull down a ways, down right about there. This was wearing in that bearing anyways.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get it apart there, so rather than do too much heat on this to take that seal out. We just did it this way. So we got a collar up there. We'll put a collar here. We'll slide a piece of 1-inch cold roll back up through the bearing and weld those two guys together. And when it comes time for me to take this back apart, I'm going to have to do the same thing. Bang, bang. So, alright, so now we got to figure out where we want this thing. Alright, so now I just have to measure the distance between the end of this shaft and the end of that shaft there. Cut a piece of cold roll, pound a piece of this other tubing on there. Pound that on there, drive my shaft in, slide that down, push that into place. We've got our piece of cold roll here cut. I've slid it up through the bearing. I've got to slide it a little farther, but before I slide that any farther, I'm going to weld this on this side. Then when I marry the two together, I'm not pushing this one past the point of center, because it's a 4-inch piece of heavy wall, and I've got 2 inches of the upper cold roll in there, and I'll have 2 inches of the lower piece. So this auger, when I bought it, it had the motor kit on it, and it came with this shaft here that if we pulled that apart the right way, we would have slid this shaft into the coupler right here, and it would have brought that PTO gearbox, or the gearbox down here, so we put a PTO on it. This is the collar that was furnished with it. So we couldn't get that apart, so now we're doing it this way. So I've got that tack welded up top. Now we could slide this guy into there. Slide in there. Let's see what
Maybe it is going to.
Get some penetrating oil. That flat.
You gotta go back just a little bit.
That's good right there, because we're right to the end of the shaft. So
Alright.
PTO is all on there. All right, tie that up to there. I'm going to put some bolts in the shroud there, and then that's going to do it. Okay, that'll do it, right, Norris?
That's right.
Ready for corn. Oh crap, we got the gearbox on the wrong side.
No, we don't.
Somebody's paying attention.
I'm paying attention.
All right, that'll do her.